The migraines started when I was 17. Not regular headaches. The kind that made light feel like knives and turned my vision into a kaleidoscope of fractured shapes. The kind where I'd spend 3 days in a darkened room, unable to move without vomiting. "Stop being so dramatic, Emma," Mom would say, opening my bedroom curtains. "Fresh air will help. You just need to get outside." Dad was worse. "Your sister gets headaches too, and she doesn't make this much fuss about it." By my second year of college at Boston University, the migraines were happening twice a week. I started missing classes. My roommate would find me curled up on the bathroom floor at 3 a.m. crying from the pain. "You need to see a doctor," she insisted. I did. Several, actually. The first 3 told me it was stress. Tension headaches. "Try yoga," one suggested. "Cut out caffeine," said another. The 4th prescribed migraine medication that made me feel like I was underwater but didn't stop the pain. The 5th doctor, a neurologist at a clinic near campus, ordered an MRI. I was 20 years old when I got the call. "We found something on your scan. You need to come in immediately." The something was a traumatic brain injury. Not recent. Old. From childhood. The neurologist showed me the images, pointing to areas of scarring and damage that shouldn't exist in a healthy brain. "When did you experience head trauma?" she asked. I sat there staring at the scans, my mind racing backward through my childhood. And then I remembered. I was 8 years old. My older brother Tyler had gotten a new baseball bat for his birthday. He was in the backyard showing off for his friends. I'd walked outside to ask Mom something. I never saw the bat coming. Tyler had been practicing his swing. The aluminum bat connected with the left side of my head with a sound I can still hear sometimes in nightmares. A hollow, sickening crack. I went down instantly. When I woke up, I was on the couch. My head felt like it was splitting open. Mom was pressing an ice pack against my temple. "You're fine," she kept saying. "Just a bump. Stop crying so loud, you're embarrassing yourself in front of Tyler's friends." Dad had been angrier with me for getting in the way than with Tyler for not paying attention. "Why weren't you watching where you were going?" They never took me to the hospital. Never got me checked out. Just ice, aspirin, and orders to stop making such a big deal about it. The headaches started about 6 months after that. By the time I was 10, they were regular. By 12, they were debilitating. And through it all, my parents insisted I was exaggerating. Being dramatic. Seeking attention. Now, at 20, I was staring at medical proof that my brain had been damaged for over a decade. "You need to see a specialist," the neurologist said. "This kind of injury can cause long-term complications. The migraines are likely a result of the trauma. There may be other issues we haven't identified yet." I was referred to Dr. Marcus Patterson at Massachusetts General Hospital, one of the top neurological trauma specialists in the country. Over the next 8 months, I underwent extensive testing. MRIs, CT scans, cognitive assessments, vestibular function tests. Dr. Patterson's diagnosis was comprehensive and devastating. The childhood trauma had resulted in permanent damage to my frontal lobe and temporal region. It explained the migraines, yes, but also the memory issues I'd been having, the difficulty concentrating, the occasional balance problems, the sensitivity to light and sound. "This should have been treated immediately when it happened," Dr. Patterson told me during one appointment. "Emergency intervention could have prevented much of the long-term damage." I didn't tell my parents about any of this. I was building a case file of my own health, documentation of what had happened and what had been ignored. After graduation, I moved to Cambridge and took a job as a research coordinator at MIT's Brain and Cognitive Sciences department. The work was flexible enough to accommodate my bad days. My supervisor, Dr. Chin, had her own chronic health condition and understood. "Take care of yourself first," she'd tell me. "The research will wait." I was careful. I built my life around my limitations. I documented everything. Every migraine, every medical appointment, every test result. Dr. Patterson became not just my doctor but my advocate. He connected me with other specialists. I saw a pain management team, a vestibular therapist, a neuropsychologist. I wasn't hiding my condition. I was managing it. Quietly. Professionally. Without asking my family for anything. My parents assumed I was still struggling. Still exaggerating. Still seeking sympathy. Tyler had gone into commercial real estate with Dad. They worked together at Morrison Property Group, the company Dad had built over 30 years. My younger sister Ashley was in marketing, working remotely for a firm in New York while living in mom and dad's basement. I was the family disappointment. The one who couldn't handle a normal job. The one with constant excuses. Family dinners were brutal. "How's the headache situation, Emma?" Dad would ask with exaggerated concern that dripped with sarcasm. "Still too delicate for the real world?" "I'm managing," I'd say quietly. "Must be nice to have such a flexible job," Ashley would add. "Some of us have to work full days." Tyler rarely said anything. I think he'd convinced himself the baseball bat incident never happened. Or that it wasn't a big deal. Either way, he never acknowledged it. I stopped going to family dinners. Made excuses. My parents interpreted this as more drama. "Emma's too good for us now," Mom told relatives. "Can't even make time for family." What they didn't know was that I'd been working with a legal team for over a year. Not to sue, I didn't want their money. I wanted documentation. I wanted medical acknowledgement. I wanted the record to show what had happened to me and what hadn't been done about it. When I turned 25, I requested my childhood medical records. There was nothing from the baseball bat incident. No emergency room visit. No doctor's consultation. Nothing. Just routine checkups where Mom had apparently never mentioned that I'd been knocked unconscious by a metal bat. Dr. Patterson helped me compile everything into a comprehensive medical file. Years of scans, test results, specialist reports. A formal medical history that told the complete story. I wasn't sure what I'd use it for. I just knew I needed it to exist. The explosion came during Thanksgiving when I was 26. I'd driven to my parents' house in Newton. I had a migraine starting. I could feel the warning signs, the visual disturbances beginning, but I'd promised to come. I brought my medication, planned to stay just an hour. The family was gathered in the living room. Tyler's fiancée Melissa was there. Ashley had brought her new boyfriend. Everyone was drinking wine, laughing loudly. The noise was making my head pound. "Emma, you look tired," Mom observed. "Another headache?" "Just a small one," I said. "I took medication." "You're always taking medication," Dad said. "You know what would help? Exercise. Fresh air. Not sitting around feeling sorry for yourself." "I exercise regularly," I replied calmly. "I work with a physical therapist." Ashley laughed. "A physical therapist? For headaches? That's the most Emma thing I've ever heard." "It's vestibular therapy," I explained. "For balance issues related to—" "Oh God, here we go," Tyler interrupted. "The medical terminology. We get it, You have headaches. We all have headaches. You don't see the rest of us making it our entire personality." Something in me snapped. Not dramatically. Just quietly broke. "Tyler," I said, my voice steady despite the pain building behind my eyes. "Do you remember your 12th birthday? The baseball bat." The room went silent. "What?" he said. "You hit me in the head with an aluminum baseball bat. I was 8. You were practicing your swing in the backyard. I was unconscious for several minutes." That didn't happen," Tyler said, looking at our parents. "It did," I said. "Mom, you put ice on it and told me to stop crying. Dad, you said I should have been watching where I was going. Neither of you took me to a doctor." "That's ridiculous," Mom said. "If something like that had happened, of course we would have taken you to the hospital." "But you didn't," I said. "And now I have permanent brain damage because of it." Dad stood up. "Permanent brain damage? Emma, this is exactly what we're talking about. This is the exaggeration. This is the drama. You had a minor bump as a child and now you're claiming it ruined your life." "It wasn't minor," I said. "I have the medical records, the scans, the specialist reports. From doctors you probably manipulated into believing your sob story," Ashley said. That's when Dad made his move. "You know what? I'm done with this. We're all done with this. Emma, you need professional help. Psychiatric help. This victim mentality has gone too far." "I have traumatic brain injury," I said. "It's documented by multiple specialists at Massachusetts General Hospital." "Then you won't mind proving it," Dad said. "Officially. With neutral doctors. Not ones you've convinced of your narrative." "What are you suggesting?" I asked. "Mediation," Dad said. "Legal mediation. You make these claims, you provide actual proof. Not your stories. Not your manipulation. Real proof. And when you can't, you agree to get the psychiatric treatment you clearly need." Mom nodded. It's for your own good, honey. These delusions are getting worse. I looked around the room. Every face showed the same expression, skepticism tinged with pity and frustration. Even Tyler looked uncomfortable but wasn't defending me. Fine, I said quietly. Schedule the mediation. I'll bring my proof. I called Dr. Patterson the next morning. They want mediation, I told him. They don't believe me. They think I'm making everything up. There was a long pause on the line. When Dr. Patterson spoke, his voice was tight with controlled anger. Emma, your medical file is one of the most thoroughly documented cases of long-term traumatic brain injury I've seen in my career. The evidence is incontrovertible. Will you testify? I asked. Absolutely, he said. And I'll bring everything. Every scan, every test, every report. They want proof. They'll get it. Over the next 3 weeks, I worked with my legal team to prepare for the mediation. Dad had hired Morrison and Hayes, a family law firm in Boston. They'd proposed a neutral mediator, Judge Patricia Reynolds, retired, who specialized in family medical disputes. The mediation was scheduled for December 15th at the mediator's office in downtown Boston. My attorney, Sarah Mendoza, was thorough. They're going to try to paint you as unreliable, she warned. They'll bring up every time you canceled plans, every flexible work arrangement, everything that makes you look like you're exaggerating. Let them, I said. I have 8 years of consistent medical documentation. Sarah smiled. And you have Dr. Patterson. Trust me, when one of the country's top neurological trauma specialists walks into that room, the tone changes very quickly. Dr. Patterson and I met twice before the mediation. We went through every piece of evidence. The original MRI from when I was 20 that first showed the damage, the subsequent scans over the years showing the permanent scarring, the cognitive assessments, the pain management records, everything. The most damning evidence, Dr. Patterson said, is the comparison. We have scans from age 20 showing damage that was already old. We can date the injury to childhood based on the healing patterns. We have your consistent symptom history that matches perfectly with frontal and temporal lobe trauma. We have documented treatment for complications that arose directly from untreated head injury. This isn't ambiguous, Emma. This is textbook neglected traumatic brain injury. The night before the mediation I barely slept. Not from anxiety, from a migraine that started at midnight and didn't respond to medication. By morning I was exhausted, in pain, and looked exactly like what I was. Someone dealing with a chronic neurological condition. Perfect in a way. They wanted to see me as I actually was, not as they imagined me to be. The mediation office was on the 14th floor of a building near Boston Common. I arrived 15 minutes early with Sarah. Dr. Patterson was meeting us there with his laptop and portable scanner for presenting the medical images. My parents arrived exactly on time with Tyler and Ashley in tow. Their attorney, Gerald Morrison, was a distinguished-looking man in his 60s who specialized in discrediting medical claims in family disputes. Judge Reynolds was a woman in her early 70s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She invited us all into the conference room. "Let's begin," she said. "Mr. Morrison, your clients requested this mediation. Please state the purpose." Gerald Morrison stood. "Your Honor, my clients are concerned about their daughter Emma's mental health. She has made claims of serious medical conditions, specifically permanent brain damage from a childhood incident. These claims have escalated over the years and are now affecting family relationships. My clients believe Emma needs psychiatric evaluation, not continued validation of what may be psychosomatic symptoms or—" "Excuse me," Sarah interrupted. "Are you claiming my client's diagnosed traumatic brain injury is psychosomatic?" "I'm saying," Morrison continued, "that my clients have seen no credible evidence of such a diagnosis. They've seen a young woman who uses medical claims to avoid responsibility, to explain away normal life challenges, and to garner sympathy." Dad leaned forward. "Emma, honey, we love you. But this has gotten out of hand. The constant doctor visits, the medications, the claims that you can't work normal hours because of brain damage from something that may or may not have even happened when you were 8 years old." "It happened," I said quietly. "You say it happened," Mom said gently. "But sweetheart, you were a dramatic child. You had an active imagination. Is it possible you've built this memory up into something it wasn't?" Tyler shifted uncomfortably. Look, Em, I don't really remember hitting you with a bat. If I did, I'm sorry. But that doesn't mean it caused permanent damage. Kids bump their heads all the time. Judge Reynolds looked at me. Ms. Morrison, do you have documentation to support your medical claims? Yes, Your Honor, Sarah said. Extensive documentation. And we have Dr. Marcus Patterson here, who is Ms. Morrison's primary neurological specialist from Massachusetts General Hospital. Dad's lawyer waved dismissively. Your Honor, we anticipated the plaintiff would bring a sympathetic doctor. We'd like to request an independent medical evaluation. Before we discuss that, Judge Reynolds interrupted, let's see what documentation is currently available. Dr. Patterson. Dr. Patterson stood. He was in his late 50s with graying hair and the quiet authority of someone who'd spent decades in the top tier of his field. He opened his laptop and connected it to the conference room's display screen. Your Honor, members of the Morrison family opposing counsel, Dr. Patterson began, his voice calm and professional. I've been treating Emma Morrison for neurological trauma for the past 6 years. What I'm about to show you is not ambiguous. It is not open to interpretation. It is documented, measurable brain damage. He pulled up the first image, my MRI from age 20. This is Emma's brain scan from December 2018, when she was 20 years old and first came to see a neurologist for chronic, debilitating migraines. These are not normal migraines. They are post-traumatic in nature. He used a laser pointer to indicate areas on the scan. You can see here in the left frontal region significant scarring. This is healed trauma. Not recent. This injury occurred years before this scan was taken. Dad's lawyer leaned forward, studying the image. Dr. Patterson, couldn't this scarring be from any number of causes? It could be, Dr. Patterson agreed. If we didn't have her medical history and symptom timeline. But we do. He advanced to the next slide, a detailed timeline I'd helped him create. Emma's migraines began at age 8, approximately 6 months after the reported incident with the baseball bat. The pattern, frequency, and nature of these migraines are entirely consistent with post-concussive syndrome from significant head trauma. She also developed light sensitivity, sound sensitivity, balance issues, and cognitive difficulties, all markers of frontal and temporal lobe injury. He showed scan after scan, test after test. Cognitive assessments that showed processing delays in specific areas affected by the trauma. Vestibular testing that revealed inner ear damage consistent with head injury. Pain mapping that correlated directly with the injury site. This scan, Dr. Patterson said, pulling up a detailed 3D rendering of my brain, was taken last month. You can see the permanent scarring has not changed in 6 years because it is old, healed damage. The injury Emma sustained as a child was severe enough to cause lasting structural changes to her brain. The room had gone completely silent. Even Ashley had stopped fidgeting with her phone. Dad's lawyer cleared his throat. Dr. Patterson, is it your professional opinion that this injury occurred during the baseball bat incident when Ms. Morrison was 8 years old? Based on the timing of symptom onset, the location and pattern of the damage, and the complete absence of any other reported head trauma in Emma's history? Yes. That is my professional medical opinion. Dr. Patterson's voice hardened slightly. It is also my professional opinion that this injury should have received immediate emergency medical intervention. The fact that it didn't is why Emma now lives with permanent neurological complications. I watched Dad's face drain of color. What kind of complications? Judge Reynolds asked. Dr. Patterson turned to me. Emma, would you like to explain or shall I? I can, I said quietly. I looked at my family. I have chronic post-traumatic migraines that occur 15 to 20 times per month. They last anywhere from 4 hours to 3 days. I take daily preventive medication and have rescue medication for acute episodes. I have visual disturbances, photophobia, and occasional aura. I have balance issues that require ongoing vestibular therapy. I have cognitive processing delays that affect my working memory and concentration, which is why I need flexible work arrangements. I have phonophobia, sensitivity to sound, which is why I can't be in loud environments for extended periods. Mom's hand had gone to her mouth. These aren't complaints, I continued. These aren't excuses. These are documented disabilities resulting from a traumatic brain injury that was never treated. Emma, Tyler said, his voice shaking. I didn't know. I honestly don't remember hitting you. But if I did, I'm so. This isn't about you apologizing, Tyler, I said. This is about the fact that when an 8-year-old child is knocked unconscious by a metal baseball bat, she should be taken to the hospital. She should be evaluated. He should be monitored. Instead, I was told to stop crying and go to my room. We didn't know it was serious, Mom whispered. Dr. Patterson spoke, his voice sharp now. Mrs. Morrison, your daughter was unconscious. That alone is grounds for immediate emergency medical care. Loss of consciousness from head trauma in a child requires immediate CT scanning to rule out intracranial bleeding, skull fracture, and brain injury. This is not ambiguous medical advice. This is basic emergency response that any parent should know. Dad's lawyer was frantically taking notes. Dad himself looked like he might be sick. Judge Reynolds studied the scans still displayed on the screen. Dr. Patterson, what is the long-term prognosis for Ms. Morrison? The damage is permanent, Dr. Patterson said bluntly. The migraines are likely to be chronic and lifelong. The cognitive issues may improve slightly with continued therapy but will never fully resolve. The balance problems will require ongoing management. Emma will need consistent medical care for the rest of her life for complications that could have been prevented or significantly reduced if she'd received proper treatment at age 8. She's exaggerating everything for sympathy, Dad had said at the start of this meeting. Dr. Patterson turned to look at my father directly. Mr. Morrison, I have treated thousands of traumatic brain injury patients in my career. I have published over 40 peer-reviewed papers on neurological trauma. I can state without any doubt that your daughter has never once exaggerated her condition. If anything, she has consistently downplayed the severity of what she deals with daily. The strength it takes to function with the level of chronic pain and neurological disruption she experiences is remarkable. Ashley was crying quietly. Tyler had his head in his hands. Mom looked at me with tears streaming down her face. Emma, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I thought you were just... I didn't know. You didn't want to know, I said, my voice steady but not unkind. Because knowing would have meant acknowledging that ignoring my injury had consequences. Judge Reynolds closed her folder. Mr. Morrison, based on the medical evidence presented here today, I see no grounds whatsoever for psychiatric evaluation of Ms. Emma Morrison. What I do see is documented proof of a serious childhood injury that was medically neglected. I'm recommending that this mediation be concluded with the family's acceptance of Emma's medical condition as legitimate and thoroughly documented. Dad's lawyer started to speak, but Dad held up his hand. No. She's right. He looked at me, his eyes red. Emma, I don't know what to say. I was wrong. We were all wrong. I don't need you to say anything, I said quietly. I just needed you to know. To actually see the truth instead of dismissing it. Dr. Patterson began packing up his laptop. If there are no further questions about Ms. Morrison's medical condition, I need to return to the hospital. Thank you, Doctor, Judge Reynolds said. As Dr. Patterson walked toward the door, he paused next to my father. Mr. Morrison, you're fortunate your daughter has managed her condition as well as she has. Many patients with injuries like hers don't fare nearly as well. That's not luck. That's Emma's determination and resilience. I'd suggest you remember that. Dad nodded, unable to speak. The mediation ended shortly after Dr. Patterson left. Judge Reynolds officially documented that my medical claims were validated and substantiated by expert medical testimony. There would be no psychiatric evaluation. No requirement to prove anything further. My family sat in stunned silence as Sarah and I gathered our materials. Emma, wait, Mom said as I headed for the door. Can we talk? Not today, I said. I have a migraine starting. I need to get home, take my medication and rest in a dark room. Like I've needed to do thousands of times over the past 18 years while you all thought I was being dramatic. I left the building and sat in my car for 20 minutes, waiting for the rescue medication to kick in enough that I could safely drive home. My phone started buzzing. Text after text. Tyler, Emma, I'm so sorry. I genuinely don't remember hitting you, but seeing those scans. I believe you. I'm sorry we didn't believe you sooner. Ashley, I feel sick. All those times I made fun of you for being delicate. I'm so sorry. Mom, please call me when you can. I need to talk to you. I need to understand what we can do to help. I didn't respond to any of them. I drove home, closed my blackout curtains, and spent the next 14 hours in bed as the migraine ran its course. It's been 8 months since the mediation. My family has tried to rebuild the relationship. Mom attends some of my medical appointments now, not to doubt me but to understand. She's educated herself on traumatic brain injury. She volunteers with a brain injury awareness organization. Dad set up a medical fund in my name. I told him I didn't need his money. My insurance through MIT is excellent and I've learned to manage my expenses. He did it anyway. It's not about need, he said. It's about acknowledging what we should have done 18 years ago. Tyler actually went to therapy to process his guilt. He doesn't remember the incident and part of him still struggles to believe he could have caused this much damage. His therapist has helped him understand that he was a child too, 12 years old, not being supervised properly while swinging a metal bat. Ashley has become almost overprotective. She researches every new migraine treatment, sends me articles, asks if I've tried this supplement or that therapy. It's exhausting sometimes, but it comes from a good place. We have Sunday dinners now. At my apartment. With lights dimmed, noise kept low, no strong scents or perfumes. My family has learned to accommodate my needs instead of expecting me to pretend they don't exist. I'm still at MIT, still working in research. Dr. Chin nominated me for an award last month for my work on cognitive rehabilitation protocols. No one understands the patient perspective like you do, she said. Dr. Patterson remains my specialist. My advocate. My proof that I'm not exaggerating, not imagining things, not seeking sympathy. My proof that what I experience is real, documented, and worthy of respect. I still have 15 to 20 migraines a month. I still need flexible work arrangements. I still have bad days where I can't get out of bed. But now when I tell my family I need to cancel plans because of my health, they say, "We understand. Take care of yourself. We'll be here when you're feeling better." That's all I ever wanted. Not apologies. Not money. Not guilt. Just belief. Just validation. Just the simple acknowledgement that what I experience is real. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it just makes people see you as you actually are, instead of the convenient fiction they've created. And sometimes that's enough.